Alright, so we're over at the stove. I have a Teflon wok I like to use for a lot of things. I'm going to go ahead and make the soup in that. You see I got my boiling water on already. I got my oven preheated to 350 to just help finish the vegetables. So I'm going to go ahead and get a medium flame under that. One of the things we do in the restaurant, and I do a lot, is I have a squirt bottle of oil. There's a little bit of oil in there to use. I'm going to go ahead with that just because that's what I'm comfortable with. So I'm going to bring my tray and prep over. I'm going to go ahead and knock my vegetables into there. I guess I should do it this way. I'm going to let them start to cook. To cook something translucent, I really don't want to get any color in it because I don't want any little specks in my soup. The other thing I like to do is, even at this point, just start with a little bit of salt and pepper to get everything reducing, or to get everything kind of melding together and whatnot. So just let that go for a moment. So I think one of the things when going to the stove and talking about the stove a little bit that's very important is heat control. I think one of the things that intimidates a lot of people, and where a lot of people go off kind of course with their cooking and where they lose it, is just not taking the time to control their heat. As a young cook, we all like to in the kitchen turn everything on high and let it go. Well, that's not the best way. You burn it. You end up cleaning a lot of dishes. So it's one of those things, really to build up practice. It's much like using a knife. You just build up to, understanding where your heat points are, where things cook the best, where you want to cook things. Like you'll see when we do the vegetables for the raviolis here in a little bit, that I want a very high heat because I want them to caramelize. I want to bring out some of those sugars and those flavors. Whereas this, I just want to kind of soften the vegetables, get them started to cook, get some of that flavor out. I really don't want that caramelized flavor. Anybody that's been in class with me also knows that keeping things on the bottom of the pan even, a little shake or swirl, keeps you from building up hot spots and things like that that are really, a little detrimental to your dish. So as that goes, I'm just going to kind of let it go. So you see 2, 3, 4 minutes. One of the reasons I cut my vegetables smaller is to always make this process go faster. Really let that go. So as that starts, and I'm about halfway through the cooking, I'm going to go ahead and add my garam masala. Just a sprinkle over the top. Another one of those things, if you have an acquired taste for it and you really like it, go heavy. If you're lighter, you don't want to. And one of the important things is with spices, one of the things I've learned from Indian cooking is to take some time to toast your spices. We actually buy a garam masala that's all whole spices at the restaurant, and then we grind it down kind of as we need it. And the aroma on this is just awesome. It's all those fall flavors without the feeling that you should be at Dunkin' Donuts. So once that's going, the first thing I'm going to add into that is my stock. Then I'm going to go ahead and add my butternut puree. We're just going to let this all come up to a simmer. trying to break up any clumps just so it's nice and even. And as that goes, you know, feel free to taste things as we go through. See what I like, see where the seasoning is, you know. It's going to be a little bit of salt at the end. I'm not worried about that right now. One of the nice things about pre-roasting butternut squash too is you can put it in the fridge for a few days and it's not going to hurt it. You know, you can pull this out, and if you want to make this as as the ravioli sauce, or if you want to make this as, you know, just a quick meal, it's there. So once that comes up to a simmer, we're going to take our heavy cream and add it. Go ahead and incorporate that, and then I'm just going to let this cook and start to reduce down a little bit. So we get a little bit of thickness out of it. And then also I'm going to add a little bit more salt to mine because that's how I like it. One of the nice things about heavy cream, if you haven't cooked with it, it will start to reduce down. You know, it will give you a little bit of more consistency. If you're on the healthier side of things, you want to just, you know, substitute. You don't even have to substitute. You can just do the puree in the soup, and that could be your soup. I like the richness, the way this rounds out the spices. Kind of the way it all works together. So just let that come up. We'll make it go a little faster. I've always wanted a wok in my an actual wok range in my home kitchen with the pedal on the floor to make it go higher. It's one of those bucket dreams, I guess. So you can see that consistency is coming together a little bit better. We're going to give it a moment or two to come up, and then we're going to take that off and put it into a larger container where whenever we get a plate up, we'll finish it very quickly with an immersion blender. This is also a soup if you didn't want it thin, or if you didn't want it perfectly smooth, you could take and just leave it like this and it would be fine. So that's about the consistency I wanted. I'm going to go ahead and kick that off the stove. Let that sit and finish. And we're going to move on to the next one, or the next raviolis.